Hello, Rick here with a Pico lore video on the namesakes of some of Starfleet's noticeable ships, with a first today being the only technically non-Federation vessel, the USS Dauntless. I say technically as extra-canonical sources do list a myriad of vessels named Dauntless, and the fake Starfleet ship had to derive the name from somewhere. In 1804 there was a combatant class HMS Dauntless that was one of three of its ilk, but it ran aground in 1807 and was surrendered to the French. Then in 1808 there was a Cormorant class commissioned in 1809, and it fought in the Napoleonic Wars until it was assigned a new captain in 1818 and sold in 1825. 1847 saw the emergence of a new HMS Dauntless, but over the first few years its propulsion was altered to improve its performance. In 1850 she was commissioned and assigned to the Evolutionary and Experimental Squadron alongside other unique vessels. She served out the rest of her tenure as a lifeguard until 1878. In 1918 a Danae-class cruiser was launched at the close of the First World War. In 1928 she, like an older namesake, ran aground, but was eventually able to free itself after 9 days by shedding many components. It returned to combat in the Second World War, where it was eventually reduced to a training vessel, then dismantled after its close. Currently there is the Daring class HMS Dauntless D-33 commissioned in 2010. After serving all around the world, it was pulled back for refit in 2019 and is one of 6 of its class. Interestingly, they seem to all share alliterative names: the Daring, Dauntless, the Diamond, Dragon, the Defender, and the Duncan. So Starfleet's first Dauntless seems to be the USS Dauntless NCC 1697 from early comic appearances, under the command of Captain Diego Reyes, and it fought against the future Klingon Chancellor Gorkon several times during the Klingon Federation Wars of the 2250s. The ship was a Peter Veliki-class starship, which was a squatter-framed vessel designed to match the new Klingon D-7s. As of the 2280s, there was a new USS Dauntless, the Indomitable class. This class of vessel was designed from the results of the Constitution refit project, however only 4 were constructed before breakthroughs in warp took Starfleet's attention to the USS Excelsior. The vessels were almost relegated to mothballs, but were utilised as for border patrols into the early 24th century. Occasional Indomitable class starships are still produced, as there is nothing fundamentally wrong with the design. It was simply superfluous. 2365 saw the launch of the Galaxy-class USS Dauntless NCC 71879 under the command of Leland Bell. She was assigned numerous scouting and patrol missions during the rising Romulan tensions of this period, until 2372 when she returned for refits and repairs. She received a new bridge commander, Robert Wright, until his death above Vesuvi after 2375. Its crew was reassigned to another vessel, and the Dauntless was destroyed in 2378 by a militaristic Cardassian party. There are also reports of a USS Dauntless that was a Defiant-class vessel, but this conflicts with the timing of the Galaxy-class variant. In 2374, the crew of the USS Voyager encountered a false Federation starship called the USS Dauntless that supposedly was based upon quantum slipstream drive technology that was many times faster than the highest attainable warp speeds. This vessel turned out to be a ruse, constructed as a part of a revenge plan against the USS Voyager. However, the crew were able to take detailed scans and experiment with the drive first-hand, reproducing it and storing the schematics for the vessel until their arrival back in the Alpha Quadrant in 2378. Starfleet eagerly analysed the new slipstream drive, and in 2410 was able to recreate the Dauntless as the NX-01A and then commission it as the NCC 47700 from the Voyager's records. This exact recreation was more to learn about its particle synthesis capabilities, also exhibited by the false Dauntless, rather than the slipstream drive, which had already seen successful implementation on Vesta-class starships such as the USS Aventine in 2380. By 2410, limited slipstream travel was commonplace on Starfleet vessels, with most starships having the capability, though limited to short jumps. Aside from some experimental propulsion in the 19th century, there is little in common with the only on-screen version of the Dauntless that we get to see. The vessel, unsurprisingly, has a lineage as a battleship, as the name implies. Dauntless meaning to be resolute, fearless, and unable to be cowed. So its use as the name of Arturius' force vessel must be in relation to its experimental drive. Slipstream in the time of Voyager, and a steam screw or steam-powered propeller for the 1850s version. Thanks for watching this brief foray into Star Trek's orbiting lore and the look into the legacy of the name Dauntless in Starfleet. As usual, leave a request for other Trek names and I'll look into making a short vid on them too. Until then, thanks again for watching, and goodbye.